chaps. This is our second lesson of this week. It's going to be very, very short, okay? We're going to look at different kind of ranges. So I've decided to go with the same example we just did in the lesson, okay? So we had a bunch of values, okay? Our Q1, our minimum was 1, the maximum was 10, okay? Q1, the lower quartile range was 2.5, 2.5, median was 4, Q3 was 8.5. Now, we're going to look at, once we've got these 5 numbers, we can calculate ranges. And the first one is just the range, okay? The range is simply the maximum value minus the minimum value. Okay? So in this case, let's use red, okay? It's going to be 10 minus 1 equal 9. Okay, so the range is 9. Okay? Now, IQR, Interquartile Range. Sounds really complicated. Dead easy. Not a problem. Guys, IQR, Interquartile Range, is simply Q3 minus Q1. That's all. So once you find Q3 and Q1, you minus 1 from each other. In this case, it was 8.5 minus 2.5, which is 6. Yeah, 6. So the interquartile range is 6. Okay? Why do we use the interquartile? Well, let's just talk about that in a minute. Okay, let's just talk about that. What is semi-interquartile range? Again, sounds like, oh my goodness, this is difficult stuff. Easy. All you got to do is take the IQR, the interquartile range, and halve it. Okay? So in this case, it's 6 divided by 3, which is 2. Okay? Now, what are we trying to achieve here? Okay? Again, stats is more of an art than maths. Okay? There is no right or wrong answers. There's different ways of doing stats. So somebody's trying, a scientist or someone's trying to show his data. He will find his 5-point summary, and then he can say, okay, I want to talk now about range. What's the range of the results? So there's different ranges. Okay? Just like we had 3 different means, different averages, we also have 3 different ranges. You can say, okay, the range is simply the maximum minus the minimum. Okay, so the range of the result is 9. Or you can say, okay, do you know what? I'm not really interested in these extreme points. These are extreme, okay? Somebody got 1 in a test. Come on, 1 out of 10 is quite low. Let's just disregard him. And those who got 9 to 10, the top guys. Let's just look at the majority of the class. Okay, so if we're just looking at the range of the majority of the class, then we need to look at the difference between Q1 and Q3. Because we said half the people got between Q1 and Q3. So the interquartile range is 6. And then if you want, you can talk about semi-interquartile range. So it's basically the values above or below the median, if you want, okay? So you can choose, as a scientist, as a mathematician, whatever ranges you want to show, okay? Right? Was there another? I'll just pause it. I think there was another thing I wanted to say. Yeah, so the questions here are pretty easy, but sometimes they can say a difficult question, like saying, for example, which range would you choose is more suitable? And I'm like, what are you supposed to write? So as long as you kind of give some kind of explanation, then normally you will get the mark. So in this case, you can say, I would say, right, the range is pretty good because if you remember the range is just 9. It's not a big difference to interquartile range. And in fact, there were quite a few people who got 1s and 9s and 10s. So they all kind of evenly distributed it. So the range is pretty good. But let's say we did this test or whatever, we collected the data again. I'm not going to write down, but we had 1, 1, and 2, 2, and 3, 3, and we got a couple of 9s and a 10. But let's say also one person got 20. Okay? Right? So one person got 20, just one. There was one more value, which is 20. Let's make it even more crazy. Let's say 100. Okay, so we collected one more data, just one more data, and that value was 100. Now we really need to change this whole thing, because the maximum now is not 10, it's 100. Okay? Now, that means that the range will be 100. Now the range will be 100 minus 1, which is 99. Now, if they ask you, which is the most suitable range, you're probably not going to use the range, the maximum minus the minimum, because just because of one guy or one value that we got 100, okay, that doesn't really mean much. 99% of the people got much lower values. It's not people, sorry, it's just values. Okay? So in this case, I wouldn't use that range, I would use the interquartile range. Okay? Questions are pretty easy. There's one question with the x, okay, where they give you a bunch of values with the x and then you calculate the mean, but I've done it for you, so you should handle it. Okay? Good luck, guys. I'll see you in the next lesson.